Hey, Happy New Year. How are you? Look at all of you chatting away. Okay, did I lose anything? How's it all look? It's been so long. Welcome, Megan, Terry, Malin, Walter. It's nice to see you. Hi, late night. It's really great to see you guys. How have you guys been? Oh my gosh, strep and flu. Oh my gosh. I'm really glad I can't get your cooties. Hi, Unika. How's it going? I saw you post a picture for the new year. I got a notification. That's awesome. I think it was it a picture? Maybe you were going live, but it was like late at night for me. How are you guys? Did you guys have a good break? I mean, it was my break, but I don't know if it was your break too. But hi, Jan. Okay, can you guys hear everything? See everything okay? Let me know. You're not sewing much, Megan. Oh, hi, Laura. Welcome. So I feel like I'm the only one in the sewing world, especially a content creator, who's not like, here is my outline list of what I'm doing for 2020. I spent so much work on making the recap video, and I've just been kind of settling in with that, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I'm pretty stoked with, what we did last year. And it made me actually want to dial back a little bit and like spend more time on like better quality and delving deeper a little bit. But I don't want it to drag, I don't want it to drag content-wise visually, so don't worry about that. I'm just thinking like, I don't need a whole lot of things in my wardrobe. I mean, I wouldn't mind modifying my wardrobe like all of us kind of do, right? But at the same time, like, I'm good, But there's a few things that I'd really like to tackle, like undergarments and that kind of sewing. And I've actually been looking at getting a new cover stitch machine because I think that's really what I need to feel like, yeah, let's do that, So I didn't really have a plan. I have like 4 projects that are ready to make right now. And so I thought I'd get you guys' feedback on that. And today I'm just going to work on this wallet pattern that I've made and sold before. And I'm going to make the pattern available to the Patreon patrons. So, but I still think the content will be good and interesting for anyone that likes to get better at binding, working with vinyl, and just like thinking about how things interact with each other as far as like a product you have to put stuff inside of like a wallet. So, ooh, Terry, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love watching your sewing journey. You're so inspirational. Yeah, Megan, right? So maybe more knits this year. That would suit that really well. I don't think my husband would like the whole yoga pant thing. Like, I mean, he has nothing against them, but we have a joke about wearing activewear, doing everything in life, like going to the grocery store in your activewear. Have you seen that video? It's really funny. So I'm like, I don't think I can get away with that. But he's like the most hands-off, like you do you type of husband. He's really supportive, so you live in mine. Yeah, see, and like when I was growing up, Megan, like leggings came out, when I was, I don't know, like early 20s or mid 20s. I don't remember. Maybe it was when I was a teenager. I don't know. But I remember my mom wearing, I've told you guys this before, she started wearing like leggings and they wore a big boxy sweatshirt over it and it was kind of hung down. Remember, one of my first jobs in the garment industry was Baum Equipment, which was like a huge company back then. And it was like this aesthetic and this look and, like that was what the world was living in, was comfy clothes. Knits were hitting the market big because they were finally not gross. They were actually comfy and accessible, and like sergers were becoming available to home sewists. I just remember this whole thing. And remember my mom putting on jeans for the first time after a really long time wearing leggings every day. And she was a stay-at-home mom running a daycare, but she was a nurse first and foremost. So she was just kind of taking a small break while my brother and sister were really little. And I remember putting on her jeans and she was so mad. It's like she was mad at the world. Like she thought the world had, robbed her because she was like, I didn't even know I'd gained 5 pounds because these leggings, man, they're so forgiving. So she's never worn them again. So she's kind of funny that way. You got a dress form, Unica. Congratulations. That's huge. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? Did you get one that fits you? Or did you get one, like, what did you pick? There's a lot of choices out there. Stirrup pants. Yeah, you know, Laura. Yeah. Yeah, right, Walter? Exactly. It is. Like, in my husband's eyes, that's kind of what it would be like. You know, like he rode his bike to work today, but I know he changed his clothes, you know, like into like jeans and a button down or something. So, hi, Maribel. Nice to see you. So the bootstrap dress form, Unica, is a custom dress form pattern, and then you make your own dress form. So you can get one that's your measurements, and they do men's and women's, or you can get a standard size dress form as well, pattern, and then you make it. I watched the whole video over the holiday break. We've missed you too, Maribel. Life happens. I know, like, live streaming during the middle of the week isn't like accessible for everybody. So yeah, exactly like what Milen's saying. And bootstrap is the name of the dress form, and it's $25. Yeah, it's cheap. Yeah. So and a couple of folks in the stream have made them, and they really like them. One gal made 2 because the first fabric choice wasn't ideal in her opinion. It seems like the trickiest part of making them is stuffing them, because you really want that uniform, you know, look. But I watched that video and it was actually totally doable. And I talked about doing a sew along for one of those, but you guys never ever really said yeah do a sew along. So I just kind of held off to see. I finally did the scan for my dress form, and it went good. It's harder than you think, and then the scan didn't work. There's too much of a fun background in my studio, apparently. That's the only thing they can think of, because they were like, the scan's really good, but like the video's really good, but the scan didn't work. So and that's for the Beatrice. So I'm working on it, and I can't wait to have that, you know. So yeah. So anyway, all right. So like I said, I'm gonna like cut out a couple of wallets. I'm just gonna see where they're at. I'm really hoping one of them ends up being my wallet, because I think you saw in the pictures. I ended up. Why is it so dark? Megan, can I lighten it up a bit? Oh my gosh, that is just too dark, you guys. You can't even see the colors of the, I'm lightening it up, Megan. I always feel like I have to get her permission. She's like, don't touch it. I'm gonna do, ooh, sorry, just a second. I'm not leaving it there, I promise. Is it just the denim, is that why? Why is that so dark? Like, this looks pretty good. Yeah. Oh, nice, Unica. Cool. Well, if I see you live, I'll definitely try and pop in there. I watched a couple of your videos. It's so fun seeing other people do live videos. And do you know Soda Fit? She also does live videos, and she sometimes pops into the chat. And I really like her streams. Okay, you guys, yeah, so maybe I will do the bootstrap. And I haven't forgotten about doing our custom bodice blocks. So we need to get that on the calendar so that it happens. I need to do mine too. So I think I'll do mine. So I've been, like, I keep telling you guys I'm working on the patterns. My first pattern is to the testers right now, and it seems like it's going really good. And then my second one's almost ready to hand off to the graphic artist, but I want to hand her off like 2 or 3, and then I'm going to launch that pattern. So I'm kind of just trying to use my time when I'm not on camera and getting ready for the camera to work on that. So that's why I haven't really spent much time on that. And I put on my big girl panties, and I steamed the Cascade duffel coat, and learned how to iron the wool. And it looked so much better. I'm gonna post pictures again, because it just made a big difference. Like, putting those sleeve heads and the sleeve caps was great. I'm really glad I did that. And just kind of molding the steam, using the steam to mold the wool over them really helped. I should have done it on camera, but I honestly didn't I didn't know what I was doing. I'm gonna have to turn my heater down. It's so flippin' hot right now. And I'm wearing this like Angora sweater this is that crazy Angora sweater I knit, you guys, that is so fuzzy. I don't know if you can see, there's like these whorls of rabbit fur coming off of me. So yeah, so Terry, I was just worried about it being shiny. So the coat went off today, Megan. She said, hey, just chill, it's cool, you know. It doesn't get, I'm not going back to work for a couple of weeks or a few weeks to like mid-January, so you have time. So I was like, thank you so much. So, right, Malin? Yeah, I just, you know, usually you guys know me. I'm just like, I don't know what'll happen, but let's just do it. And it usually works out. But when you're doing someone else's thing and you spend all that time and effort and it's irreplaceable, I definitely was like, yeah, I need to set that aside for a minute and come back to it. And I watched a few videos. I read up a few things and just doing it myself. You know, the first time I ironed the wool mountain, it did get shiny. And then every time after that, it didn't. So I think it was the steam. I'm going to turn my heater off. I'll be right back. It's an industrial heater. Like the duct is, I'm not exaggerating. I couldn't get my arms around it. It's really big. It's up there and it goes right here. So, and I've got my like, probably one of my warmest sweaters I've knit myself. So, all right. So, I really can't wait to sew. So let's just cut these out. I got fabric for 2. Because I feel like doing a couple kind of triggers what I remember about sewing this wallet. This was something in a subscription box we did at Chicken Boots called Egg Crate. I just think it would be a really great pattern to give to folks for free, you know, for the Patreon patrons, because it's totally simple to sew as long as you're feeling okay about the binding step. But even that, you could probably get away with not doing some of the binding. And except for the last one. And the closure is just elastic. So yeah, so it's like this. I mean, yeah, I don't go for big wallets, it's true. So it's going to be like this when it's done. I don't have a finished one. I do, I just forgot to bring it, sorry. But this is what I'm using right now as a wallet. And I need a real wallet because after mine was stolen, it's been such a sting to me that happened. I haven't gotten a new wallet, and this thing is slicker than snot, and so sometimes it'll just go slide right out of my bag and be on the floor of my car. I lose it all the time because I'm paranoid now, and I haven't lost it, but I think I've lost it. And I need something that's not so smooth and a little bit bigger. I just love how easy, this is practically smaller than my phone, so it goes in my pocket, and I'm really kind of low-key that way. But I'm always juggling. I always have my glasses, my phone, and my card keys in my wallet. So it's like, purse would be helpful. But, you know, I made that one, and I'm like, it's in my car to give away. So anyway, I made this wallet like a little bit wider on the sides yesterday because this was my one thing I remember is that getting the cards in there and having enough room on the side of because this right here is where your bills go behind this right here. And then there's pockets going up like this. There's a clear pocket right here for your license, a clear pocket here that's zippered for change, and then it folds up like this, and then elastics around. Snap! So that's kind of what we got going there. And so I really quickly stitched all these houses on the fabric, and I really want it to work. I like house prints. If it doesn't work, it didn't take me that long, and it'll still be a fun experience. So I'm going to cut my vinyl first, now that I've rearranged where all my pieces go. Kind of had to think about it. I'm making 2. So yeah, it's fun to make, and people really liked them. It's not $150 hobo wallet, you know? It's when you're making at home with stuff you have on hand. So there's that. So I'm just gonna cut this vinyl out. It probably looks like I'm cutting nothing because it's probably invisible. Doing more than one layer of vinyl, the vinyl can slip. And I feel like I talk a lot about how to sew vinyl, but maybe I don't because we don't really encounter it in the stream a lot. There's definitely one thing I realized for the pattern test that I probably should talk more about it Or I should have written it down better, you know? Actually, there's a little bit of a glare with this vinyl on one side, or it's like a shiny side. And this is a piece that is one way. See, I'm doing the biggest no-no. I'm cutting around my pattern pieces with my blade. Don't do that. You will cut your pattern eventually. But it's my samples, and I'm really eager to sew. It's rare we do a cutting and a sewing stream on the same day, right? A woven buttoned shirt cuff. Do you have a shirt cuff you can measure? The struggle is real, totally. Yeah, right, Maribel? It's so satisfying. They don't have to fit, right? They don't have to fit us, you know. They just have to fit your stuff. The same vinyls. Is this the same vinyls before? As before what? Wait, is this one of my... No, it's scrap. All right, so you probably can't see, but I have a vague chalk line on here because I kind of decided maybe I should be more intentional when I make these houses. So glad I did that. You know? Yeah, right, Malin. So you know what? Maybe what you could do is take a cuff that you have and then close it to a comfortable amount. Pin it there. And then the distance between where the button is, because you don't have it buttoned anymore, right? You just have it overlapped and pinned. Whatever that distance is that you moved it, take that off that wallet circumference. I mean, cuff circumference. I struggle with this too because I find, like, especially like the Archer, the cuff is really wide and that can make it feel smaller in circumference, but then it's not. It's actually quite large. So, I mean, this is the same vinyl I'm always using, Megan, because I have so much. I mean, I don't have that much left. I didn't have enough to sell, but I still have like a small roll, and that's what I am using. This, actually, the vinyl scrap I'm using here is from when my really early days in chicken boots, but that company really upset me. So I stopped buying from them, and I mostly have the vinyl that I had at the very end. So I have a notch right here because that's where the elastic goes. I don't want it to be too deep. Chalk would work too. I just want a little bit of a marker there. So I'm gonna lose some of my door right here. I can already see. I probably could have shifted this that way more, or the pattern this way. Oh well. Too late now. That's okay. Like I said, samples are samples. I'm gonna make one in the this canvas. Let's see. Do I have to unfold all of it? Oh, here we go. But you can get, if you're looking for vinyl, Megan, if that's what you're asking about, really, is if that's what you're interested in. For the early days, before I had a vendor, I would buy the vinyl at a Joann Fabrics. Yeah, I'm using elastic versus a snap. I don't have a snap press machine, so we couldn't do that in production. I think, okay, so let me just finish the vinyl thing. If you buy vinyl at Joann Fabrics and you're using it for like bag making and stuff like that, I recommend the matte, or it may be called matte or frosted or non-glare. I recommend that one rather than the clear, crystal clear, shiny. That stuff sticks to itself, and it, personally, in my opinion, looks a little bit cheap. And so I like the frosted. It looks a little classier. You still can see inside of it. Maybe it's not crystal clear, but let's be honest. Do you really need to see crystal clear? I still used frosted on our pattern holder, which was hands down my #1 selling item. And no one ever complained about the frosted. In fact, having the non-glare was really important, being able to read the pattern behind the vinyl, right? So I got the 12 gauge, which is the heaviest gauge at the time that they sold. So I don't want to tell you get the heaviest gauge because I don't know if they've gotten a heavier gauge. I would buy a roll of it with the 40% off coupon. And that was my way of buying vinyl in the beginning when I couldn't make a $200 or 200 yard order. And then by the end of it, I was getting 1,000 yards at a time, like twice a year. Hence another reason I was ready to get out of that business, because I really hated how much plastic I was buying and using. So, yeah, like the whole snap versus elastic, a lot of the designs, see, this is the thing, is like, just releasing patterns brings up a lot of these questions for me. Because I feel like when I look at my patterns in a home sewing capacity, I want to change them. I want to make them a little bit more suitable for the home sewing world. Not just in sewing steps, but as in like what you would more likely see in a bag, like something that's a little bit more like, oh, I understand this design. What a lot of what we didn't talk about a lot, because people just weren't interested in hearing it, was a lot of the design was not only driven by what I wanted as a function, but what was capable in production at the price people would pay for it. So I had to compromise sometimes on what I really wanted. I know I could have made a better bag. I know I could have added more bells and whistles to some of those things that would have been really useful. But people stop paying for handmade things at a certain price point. It's just a fact. I already had to convince people they could rely on me to ship it out, you know? Like when you start on Etsy, people really worry about that. So, you know, I'm really excited to see how people change the designs. And I'm sure a lot of folks will be like, dang, why didn't Chicken Boots ever do this? This is way better. Well, we could have, but we probably couldn't have sold it because it would have cost too much. Magnets, Megan, I have super strong magnets. I have the neodymium magnets that I use for the pattern holder, actually. They aren't strong enough to make mine aren't big enough to make the wallet feel securely closed. So I would worry about it. You can buy magnets. In fact, if you guys are ever looking for a really amazing site to browse, and just if you have someone in your life who's interested at all in either sciencey type stuff or magnets in general, or you're just like even remotely interested, check out KJ Magnetics. That site is incredible. Just browse the variety of magnets that are available to you in the world. It actually could make you want to design something around the magnets they had. Hi, Carol. How's it going? So I use a really, really small. I needed it to fit inside my binding, and I needed it to be super strong because it just needed to hold the pattern holder in a triangular shape when it was not folded flat. One of these days I'll show one of those to you, but I don't even have one here. Chicken Boots is my last business, Unica. I kind of had to close it because I lost production resources, and then the campfire happened, which took out the last of them. So, and I just really wanted to give them space to get it back on their feet. So I decided to turn all those designs into patterns for sale, just to kind of appease my customers, because it was kind of a sudden closure. My business was doing really good. So we used to make 10,000 things a year in my little factory. So. Hi, Daphne. How's it going? I saw you feel like you've been bored lately. That's you on Instagram, right? I'm assuming it's the same person. So the magnet site is so cool. They have magnets for if you want a magnetic closure on a garment. They have ones that are inside two pieces of like really thin plastic. So you can sew around the edge of the plastic put it into the garment. The thing is, you guys, those things are expensive. So the tiny little magnets we have, you've seen me pull them off the top. They're sitting on the top of my machine. I have a few left. Each one of those was something like 32 cents. So just a pair of magnets in one product would be something like 64 cents. And then you turn around to wholesale it, you're getting into $1. It's like $1.10, and then you double that for retail. $2.20 of your price is in a tiny little magnet. Magnets are not a great affordable way to consider using as a closure, because if you need a bunch of them, they can get really pricey. So, oh, okay. You need a double circle skirt? Oh gosh, my mom made me one of those once, Unica, and we had a round oak table. Damn, that table was lost in the fire. That's crazy to me. I grew up with that table. She had a round oak antique table, and I needed it for like when I was 9 years old for my fourth grade. It was like a square dancing thing. What a white thing to do. We had a square dancing unit in my history class, and she took the fabric, because I was, you're short enough as a kid. And the fabric was the right width, and she put the fabric across the table, cut it out in a circle, and then cut out a little hole in the middle for my waist and put elastic on it. And then when I'd spin, the skirt would go all the way up in the air. All right, let me keep cutting. I haven't seen you guys, so I want to chat. All right. I feel like this piece could be 2 layers of fabric, but we always did 1. I love this raindrop print. I love, weirdly, the fabrics I tend to like are like print-wise. I have a thing for house prints, and I have a thing for raindrops and snails. So weird, because, man, I hated snails in my garden. All right, so let's see. I am going to, this is why I'm cutting around with my knife, is because it's dark fabric. I want to get to the sewing part. Because look at, when you do the chalk, it's just, I could be more accurate, right? Hard to get along that edge. I'm going to do my notches. There may be some background noise today. They're trying to get a certain machine going. They warned me a little bit. They're going to try and stop at 11. Which is pretty nice of them, huh? Yeah, I feel like I did see a YouTube video pop up of a circle skirt somewhere. What are you having trouble with? I loved that skirt. Like, I wasn't a girly kid. I was pretty tomboyish, but it was so fun to spin. I made a lot of circle skirts for, like, every little kid I knew that wanted a skirt. Or every little kid I knew, I would always make a circle skirt for them. And you could just do patchwork of fabric. It was really great. So what do you need? Are you having trouble with the hemming? Because, yo, that hem's hard. That circle skirt hem is no joke. All right, so I know that with my raindrops, that's the top. I'm just double checking. Yeah, I'm gonna keep these with it. All right, so I'm gonna make I have this leftover binding from Cricut's quilt. She loved it, by the way. When my daughter opened up her quilt, like, it's like kind of like the first time I've ever given someone something like that. Well, I gave my mom one last year, but this was different. You know, when you're making something for a teenager, yeah, and she could potentially move out this year. Like, she graduates high school and all that. So I was like, this would be kind of cool to, like, give her something, like, you know, looks like what we have around our house. Anyway, I gave it to her, and as she opened it, she looked at me, she goes, "Did you make me a quilt?" I said, "I did make you a quilt." And she was like, "Really?" She was really excited. Hi, Louise. Happy New Year. Oh, nice, Daphne. Yeah, knitting. How much material and how to fold. Oh, okay. Well, okay, so I'm going to do a quick diagram for you. I don't really know the math off the top of my head. I need a piece of paper. All right, so, I mean, if your fabric is all folded, you know, right here, And these are layered. Let's see, I'm gonna draw better, I promise. Like you'd have to fold your fabric in half and then in half the other way. And so you'd have your, if this is a fold, this is 2 layers of folds, but it's 4 layers of fabric. You have your waist circle and your hem, right? And this is 1/4 of the diameter of what you need your waist seam to be. So you're gonna have to get out the geometry, the pi-art square stuff. Anytime you're doing circle skirts and hats, you need your geometry. And so you're gonna have to find out what is this length from, if this is the waist seam right here, and this is the hem, what is this length? So from my waist down to the hem. And then if you need this waist seam to be exactly the person's measurement, you're gonna need an opening to get in and out of there because you have none right now. The problem is, this is only like, this is for a kid, by the way. Your fabric isn't gonna do this for an adult because unless you just wanted to not go over their booty, like that's what's gonna happen. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because the thing is, like, that's the trick is because you need this little waist circle right here, right? You need that. So this length right here is the length of the skirt. And if this is 44-inch wide fabric folded in half, this is 22 inches across. And you already lose, like, say that diameter it needed to be, because it's for an adult and it's like 34 inches for a waist. You are, I can't do the geometry in front of you guys, like that's not how I'm wired, sorry. But you're going to lose probably 6 inches right here, which takes it off of your 22, and then you're down to, 16 inches right here, plus you need your hem and your waist seam. A 16-inch skirt from here down is like maybe my quads, maybe. Oh, so you need it for you? Yeah, so yours is 40 inches. Yeah, so you need, right here, this is going to be a 10-inch curve. So yeah, you need to figure out like where you're going to go in that. So what I would do is I would make your skirt, if this is your fabric, this is the roll, and it's open, it's not on the fold. I would look at your skirt more like shapes like this. It's upside down, so this is the waist and this is the hem. I'm doing this on the fly, so don't fault me for this. I've just made a few of these for kids. So yeah, you're gonna have to do some maths. It's the best part. But you gotta you have to think about how to get into and out of it. And sewing on those curves is no joke. And then you need to think about your circumferences, especially your waist. So, all right, let me cut these out. All right, I'm gonna do 3 and 3. Okay, so I have 3. You could maybe find a pattern though. You may have to find something like that in the costume section of maybe one of the the big 4 companies, and look for the poodle skirt pattern. Hi, Beverly. I buy it on a huge roll. Have you ever seen my roll, Beverly? It's sitting over there and it's this tall. So I get like 42-inch wide paper, I think. And I buy, sometimes it's called oak tag, and I get it for pattern drafting. I think you can get it at that shop you guys mentioned, Waywack. But it's not too hard to find. The problem, Beverly, is the shipping. Yeah. Well, hopefully, Unica, good luck. Good luck. What do you need a circle skirt for? They're so much fun. All right, so I'm going to do 3 in this. Oh, this fabric's sideways. Okay, there's a little kitty cat. I kind of want, I am not the person to come to if you want to see good fabric usage sometimes, am I? You might not need that much paper. Yeah, so that's tricky because it really can be, it's the weight of it, because my roll of paper costs about $65 and it's a lot of yards. I can't remember how many yards, but I have like like a lot left. But the roll also weighs about 60 pounds. So the shipping costs me $60. Like it's a 60, 60, 60 thing always. So if you find a little bit of that paper and they'll send it to you on a roll, like rolled up. This is not cut straight, I can tell. That's helpful. Now you can now see yourself taping exactly. Look at how badly I cut that. Holy moly. We'll just cut on that little line. Calculating line. All right, so I need 3 of these, and then I was gonna do, what was I gonna do? Maybe I'll just do 6 and 6. I like to make the pocket every other one a different fabric, so it's really easy to see the next one. Yeah, oh, true, Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Nice to see you. What about seam for this project? You can look on Amazon for that type of paper. What about seam for this project? Ah, I was going to see, Terry. Yeah, I was going to say you might, if you're an Amazon folk, you know, you might find some on there. Beverly. What are you using pattern paper for? I love being nosy with you guys. Like, I wouldn't allow you to be nosy with me, but I'm like, tell me everything. So, so you guys, we need to kind of discuss like what we're going to be making. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can do exactly get cardstock and tape it together. This will actually look different because the excuse me, like columns are going to be different from those, so they won't look like they're matched up. Will that bug me? That's going to bug me, isn't it? Oh crap, it's going to bug me. Damn it. I've always wanted to cut into this fabric, and now I'm doing it so poorly. Definitely want it right side up. So these guys, this one right here. All right. So I got a couple new projects from Hearts. Hi, Claire. Gosh, maybe I need to turn on, is there a dark mode for YouTube? Yours and Daphne's names are bright yellow for me, and so I could barely see it. I thought it was a brown sugar. Daphne's. Happy New Year to you too. How's it going? Eliza, hello. Eliza, you're already back to work? I thought you didn't go back to like like, aren't you like a teacher or something? Right? I guess most kids go back, but like colleges sometimes are a little later. Sorry, I know I'm probably moving the camera. It's a lot of layers. What's on your wish list, Terry? Oh, right, Beverly. So smart. Yeah, you can also, if you have some patterns that you really like, you can get something called Mylar. But Mylar, dang, I don't think I have an example of it. I used to work someplace where they liked using it, and it's not what you think of as Mylar. Like when they used to say, oh, let's transfer that pattern piece to Mylar. Do I have anything here? No. Oh, faculty, of course. They, you know, like I was like picturing like a helium balloon. Because remember how we used to call them Mylar balloons? So I was like, huh, okay. I would just be like, oh, okay. You know, and then they finally showed me. I was like, oh, it's like a creamy colored plastic that if you lay it on something, you can see sort of through. It's not like vinyl. It's much stiffer. In fact, like if you bent it, you would crease it, and maybe even, you wouldn't crack it, but you would crease it pretty good. And it was really thin. You could still use the rabbit punch to punch a hole through it. And it was just really handy for those pattern pieces, like a zipper fly, that we would use the exact same pattern piece on all pants, you know, stuff like that. We had some of those, like the templates. And then that way the cutting department, for some of those really small pieces that they would have to hand cut before they got the laser, they would just pull like that one pattern piece they knew worked for all patterns, you know, so they wouldn't have to like go to this pattern, find the little tiny fly piece and then hand cut it. They would just have it sitting on the wall with all their templates, you know, to kind of streamline things. Okay, so I got my pockets. Let's separate my things out here. I have you and you. Oh, you guys both need lining. Right. You guys both need lining. That may be where I screwed up. Okay, so you're going there, you're going here. And you're going like this. Okay. I need a background. I need a lining of the whole piece. So what was that? Maybe I'll use this for this one and this for that one. Okay. Okay. No, that's not what I planned, but I'm not going to worry about it now. I know, right? Glenn, I'm sorry. Not my usual. I'm definitely like, you know, chatting a lot today. Oh, Rachel, vellum. That is a better word. I think you're right. I need 2 of those in stiffener. I was about to put this away when I'm unfolding it. That's how distracted I am. Ah, there you go. Yeah, 18 by 24. That could work, Beverly, what Carol's saying. Yeah. Yeah, I know my blade is relatively new, which helps as well. All right, so is it gonna bug me? Like, they're gonna line up like this. So, is it gonna bug me though? Not me, huh? You guys know I'm kind of like, eh. Well, actually, vellum, you're right. Vellum is thin paper. I think of vellum, it's so weird how we all talk about things differently, isn't it? I just started using that for that. Remember I learned how to paper piece? And we printed on vellum, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like onion skin is what I wanted to call that, but I didn't say anything because, you know, it's like every little industry has their own words for the different words for the same thing. Mylar. Let me just look at my rack really quick. Maybe I have a piece. Or, you know, oh, here it is. This is Mylar. But see how crisp, like, I've had this thing for 20 years. It's literally a fly piece, just like I said. Did I do this so that I'm gonna have to do this sideways? No, I didn't. Yay. Okay. We really want to get to the sewing. Well, I really want to get to the sewing part. I want my wallet. It's time to move on from the incident. You know? Okay, so I just need to cut these two that I'm cutting now, and then I need to cut the stiffener and just cut down some binding in width. Really, you only need this notch on the lining piece because that's, no, it's true. It does go on the outer piece. Okay, good. Either way, it's gonna work. Okay, so I'm gonna put these pockets on that side. Tidy up my scraps. Bookmark material. Oh, Duralar. Oh. Oh, interesting. Right, Walter? Yeah, right? It's exactly, yeah, because I have a box of that. And you're right. It's like this is what you use for, you know, but this is, you can tear this stuff, you know? This is so thin. I would never use that for pattern paper. It wouldn't last. And Mylar's really expensive, so it's not anything I recommend using. I don't even use that. But I don't, you know, you guys, we don't typically make hundreds of the same thing, right? And even though I did in chicken boots, what I would do is every year I would clean up my patterns. And so when I cleaned up my patterns the first year, I made a tracing of all of them, and I didn't cut them out. I just traced them all on a big piece of manila, folded, kind of gently folded it without creasing it, punched a hole in the top and hung it from the rack so that the next year when I needed a clean copy, I would just trace those off before I cut them out and traced them off, and then I would have that next year's, because some of our patterns never changed. You know, we had some of those products that were just kind of legacy products. So that is a way to do that. So Beverly, when you get around to finding the paper that you want, make 2 copies. You know? It's like a little gift to yourself. All right, so I'm just going to cut down this bias because it's super wide for that quilt that I did. So I'm just going to stack it up. And it looks like it's wide enough that I could get 2 strips, so we'll just do it now. And then this will be plenty for this project. In fact, that piece right there is probably all I needed. And we'll just save this. Okay. So I have that. I have my binding. I'll put my wallet in there. So text me later and tell me where I left my wallet, because you know I'm gonna probably lose it. And then I just wanted to show a few patterns. Okay, I was looking for a vest pattern because I was like, you know, I need to make a vest because I'm using my tamarack vest right now on my walks, but I made it in that Cantha fabric as the lining. Oh, the sun's coming out. And I made it in a wool on the outer, and it's getting covered in pug hair on these walks. So, because every time I put him on his like collar, he's so excited and he's kind of nuts. And so I was like looking through my old patterns, and I found this. Has anyone seen this pattern company before? And are they still around? Horsehair is a good idea, except it unravels. Or are you talking about the stiffener? So has anyone seen this pattern company? So I used to make samples for a fabric shop, and this skirt was, the pattern drafting is so good. I really wish I could find this pattern company. They're based in San Francisco. Way ahead of their time. I really like that they had a lot of asymmetrical designs, and they were just really challenging. They're really fun. Okay, so the 4 patterns I have, or the 4 things I want. I have fabric to make me another vest that I bought a while ago, 4 walks. That is, like, I can just go like this with the surface, you know. Right, Rachel? I know. I didn't save the others. I don't know why. Maybe they were store copies. What? What's it, Malin? Really? They're still around? Okay. She bought the pack. Okay. Is it still called that? Because if you look for Sewing Workshop, I get a Canadian fabric store. Oh, the stiffener, Unica. Yeah, I have 300 yards of that. It's 44 inches wide. It's a huge thing I need to find a home for. Oh, okay. Well, maybe, I mean, Love to Sew is Canadian. Maybe it is the right company. Look on Amazon or eBay. Good idea. Oh, I know, right? So like one side was a skirt and one side was a pant leg. This is the front and that's the back. It was kooky. Like I've told you guys, I'm not very sentimental. I would make these really nice samples, and then I'd be like, I don't wear this anymore. I'm gonna donate it. My friends would be like, I know this is yours. Why'd you donate it? I made this out of a wool plaid. It turned out great. Okay, I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look for them again. Okay, so these are the two projects we got from Hearts. So we got the saffron pants and they're jeans, so it'd be a jean sewing thing, and you know I love sewing jeans. And then these, I know Megan's super excited about these. Just kidding, Megan. I can't get the... So it's basically a bib overall dress, dungarees. Sewingworkshop.com. Thanks, Malin. I'm sorry I'm using you guys as the Google. Sorry. So I also have fabric to make a reversible Archer button-up. But you guys have seen me make the Archer a bunch. So I don't know if you're sick of that. But I'm kind of, and I don't have to do it on stream. But I really want to make one that is more like a coat. So, I mean, I could do the tamarack. But maybe I could do the tamarack. The origami sticker is still available? Oh my gosh. I'm white out. Yeah, sorry. It's too bright. The sun came out. Let's fix it. I'm going to switch to the other table in just a second anyway. That better on your eyeballs? I don't know, Unica. Those are different companies. That better, Eliza? Sorry. I don't look at that. I look at the chat. So thanks for shouting at me. You guys got to shout at me. You know. Sorry about that. I try to watch it. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. So there's the saffron pants by Deer and Doe, and man, these things are saucy. When you see the pattern cover, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can wear those, but I'll try. I have the reversible Archer, or Eliza, did you say that about the reversible Archer? And then I have the dungarees, and then I also have a tamarack vest that I want to make. So I was looking for my old fleece vest pattern, which I don't know what I did with. I probably loaned it out. I am one of those people that I am not possessive over my things. I just give things away all the time. Probably did that. Oh, cool. On a man, what outfit? Yes, I am going to make these jeans, Daphne. Saffron jeans by Deer and Doe. This is kind of interesting. They have a little fitting thing. Oh, look at this. They have a whole fitting thing. Cool. Yeah, so I have this to make. I have the Tilly and the Buttons Cleo dungarees, reversible Archer, and then I have the tamarack vest that I want to make. That I'm going to probably make a zippered version with a high collar. Yeah, I love shoehorning patterns into what I want. But I would do the welt pockets, so it's just what you'd like to see. Oh, both availability is skirt. Yeah. The saffron. I have a feeling the print version goes up to less than the PDF. They go up to a size that might be waist 37 3/4, hip 48 for inches. UK, yeah, it's UK sizing. That's why I'm showing you that, but it's still inches. I don't think I have a metric chart here, even though it's a French company. They may have left that piece out for me. I don't get the actual pattern, you guys. You get a copy of it. Sorry about that. Yeah, have you seen the picture? It is a saucy jeans. The Clio sizing, good question. Tilly is also, I'm pretty sure, a UK company. Oh, I hate size charts like this. So the waist goes up to a 38 and the hip a 47, but that's the chart. Good luck. It's side to side. So this is the UK 20, US 16, European 48. Waist is 96.5 centimeters, 119.5 centimeters for the hip is the body. That's the top end. Oh, I hate side to side size charts. I'm trying to see a better picture of these because this one's a little bit washed out. They have like that pastel packaging, so that's probably why. Yeah, but I know Megan's not into these, but I'm really into these. I really want these. So Malik. I actually had a friend in high school named Malik Jordan. Yeah, so just so you guys know, though, I know that Deer and Doe has more sizing on their PDF patterns than they do on their printed. I don't know if that is the full size range of this pair of pants. So you might want to look on the Hearts website, maybe. Yeah. So I feel like the Clio would be very easy to alter size-wise because you're really only talking about a side seam. You know? Quit it. All right, so yeah, so I need something to cut and sew tomorrow, you guys. So what do you think? What am I making tomorrow? Oh, I don't have any of this pre-washed. I can wash it today, though. I say that and then I'll forget to put it in the dryer or something. I'm human. Don't tell me you don't do that. The skirt, the little dungarees. Kind of into those too. Yeah, really, Megan? Even you? Okay. Yeah, Rachel, it's an overalls dress. The unique is all the pants. I think you might be outnumbered here. Okay, so yeah, I always do. If I'm gonna want to wash anything I'm wearing, I always pre-wash the fabric. The skirt, all right, we'll do it. Oh, you're not talking about this skirt, are you? I'm not planning on making this. I don't have anything for this. This takes a lot of fabric. It takes almost 3 yards. Plus lining, I remember. So I don't have anything for this. This isn't the skirt you're talking about, is it? Why? Because if I plan on washing the garment and I just want to throw it in the washer and dryer, I take all of the shrinkage out of the fabric prior to cutting and sewing it. And then that way you have something that's just totally foolproof that way. Yeah. Yeah, cool, Eliza. No, Laura? Okay, so you mean the Clio dungarees? Well, if you're using synthetics, you don't have to pre-wash. If you're using wools, you wouldn't want to pre-wash. Yeah. The fashion police wants that old pattern back. You are harsh. That thing was freaking cool. Like it was just so refreshing at the time, you guys. There were hardly any indie pattern companies then. Like them, I remember them, and I remember folkwear. So you want to talk about fashion police. Oh, I love poking you. You're the bear, and I like to poke the bear sometimes. All right, so let's switch over to the... Oh, I also wanted to show you. My dad showed up with a bunch of irons. You know, because I use irons as weights. These are rusty. I'm going to need to do some work on these. They don't have handles. So if you find these with handles, get them. But these were only $5. That's a good deal because I've seen these things for anywhere between $8 and $22 for one like this. They make great weights. They're super heavy. You could do your reps in your sewing studio. I really love that you can get to a corner because of the point. They're perfectly flat. They're great. And you don't have to pay for shipping because you're going to an antique store, right? And you're appreciating it. And how meta are they, right? So yeah, you can use it for the door. It's a little hard to move for a door. You'd make a cover. You don't once I get rid of the rust, what I think I'm going to do is these have holes, but because they don't have a handle, my problem with these is because it's kind of sloped like this. I don't like these because when I do this, sometimes my fingers flip off, and if you have nails, it'll break your nail. I don't have like artificial nails, but still that can bug me. So what I'm thinking, I'm just going to put these upside down because then I don't do that. I have the angle going like this, and that's easier to grab. So that's my plan. That's why I have them all in here upside down because I was checking them out. This one has dead bugs in it. So these were probably stored outside somewhere, and that's why they're so cheap. 15 bucks for 3 really great pattern weights, though. So, yeah, right, Louise? They were so ahead of their time, and I'm sure that... And they were very, very advanced sewing. Like, they were definitely not for the beginner, and a lot of sewing then, like, the movement of... easy patterns came out, so that's what she was up against, dead bug. Oh yeah, Megan, exactly. You paid $15 for one of those, right, Terry? Exactly. And I would pay that for this. I mean, I love this one. I have this one too. This is my favorite. You get favorites. I have a really, really small one that actually I really love. It's this big. In fact, I'm going to liberate it because I'm using it as the weight in my my box light, and I don't use the box lights anymore. So I'm going to take my iron back because it's this big, and so it's great for small pieces, and it's still heavy. So I'm going to listen to that interview. That's really cool. Wait, what was the thing about wool fabric? You're a minute behind, Laura. You can refresh, but you might miss something. But you can rewind, and then you'd be behind again. How does the wool fabric? I do. You have a wool program in your washing machine. Does it just sit on a shelf? So sometimes my hand knit sweaters, I have to admit, I just wash them in the sink in my bathroom. I wrap them in a towel, I step on the towel, and then I put it on a dry towel, lay it flat to dry near a heater vent. And that's what I do. In Chico, things dry like that. In Humboldt, it would take me a week to block a sweater after I knit it. It was such a drag. Even in the summer, it took forever. So humid there. But I know my washing machine has a rack I can set in it, and you can put it on a setting, and it'll just sit there and it won't spin. I've never done it. Yeah, but I use soak or eucalyptus on the wool things. But if it's already felt, you can wash it and dry it. Yeah, right, exactly. All right, so let me switch over to my other setup. I can still talk to you guys, but I'm gonna put my camera change thing like this. I think you can still hear me, right? Yeah, I see the. So I just need to move the camera and the microphone over. I don't want to make you guys sick by moving the camera. Let's see. It's been so long. Oh my, I just realized I haven't said hi to everybody on Twitch, if there's anyone over there. I'm so sorry. My unified chat hasn't been working, so I've been only looking at YouTube, and I apologize. I'm out of practice. All right, move the mic. Let's see how I did on the camera. Me and machine, there we go. Oh, not bad. Oh, there's my so sign. I was wondering where that would be in the, here, I'll do this. I can't see the screen. Hello, hello! I can see myself better over here too. All right, how's that all look? We're sewing. Exactly, Millen, right? Well, I feel like I used to really know a lot about wool and shrinkage, and was far more confident when I was thick in the world of knitting. And now I kind of feel like I am a little more trepid about it, you know? So, all right. So, hi everyone on Twitch. Sorry I hadn't said hi to you guys. I love Twitch. So, yeah, definitely. Any sweaters you see me wear, I've knit. I'm not knitting right now though. I admit it. I'm gaming. You know, I moved somewhere that's so warm, and I wasn't getting a chance to wear all of my sweaters over the course of the winter. And I was like, okay, this is not something I need more of. I don't need more sweaters. So I kind of cooled it on that. So, but you know, like Brooke, when you see Brooke in here, she is a yarn dyer. She does all naturally dyed yarn. So she doesn't use like, I'm not going to say this right. I'm worried I'm going to say it wrong, but she's using like plant and bug material to dye her fibers. I know, right? Exactly. I don't treat Twitch well, do I, Malin? For how much I love them. All right, so I'm gonna have to do one of these at a time because I have a blue binding for the other one. So let's pull out one of each of these. I usually only keep the pattern pieces of these so I can see them because they're invisible otherwise. Let's get mine. Yay. All right, so the last second I added a rolled hem to this pattern rather than serging it, just so folks, if they didn't have a serger, they don't need to have one. Hello, Phoenix. It's been so long. Yeah, the front loader, actually the front loader, they both have their issues. I kind of wish I could have a top loader now. I feel like things get cleaner, but the water usage is just not great for living in California. All right, so I'm gonna roll hem all my little pockets here. I feel like I cut more than 6. You can see really how fuzzy my sweater is. It's hilarious. This was the yarn, you guys. I told you that story about that. I would go to a show and I would see this gal's yarn, and it was so amazing. It was smooth. And then, you know, I'd knit a lot by then, but I didn't know everything at all. And Brooke's always my go-to person. I'm like, I want to make this sweater. What do you think? And when I looked at this yarn, the woman, she raised the animals that made the yarn. She said, there's a lot of bloom with this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she had some samples in there, and I saw the samples, and they were a little bit softer and fuzzier. So when I bought a skein, $35 a skein, by the way. I was like, I bought a skein for my husband to make a hat and some mitts, and that's all I did. That's all I could get from it. It was like a, you know, I like to try and support the vendors and make a special purchase. It was a very special yarn. And then I saw her the next show, and I bought one more skein. And then I decided, you know what? I have so much left. I'm gonna make a sweater. So, because I don't really buy a whole lot at those shows. And so I was like, I'm gonna make enough to get enough to make a sweater. And so I had 3 skeins by then, and so I bought 3 more, and that was gonna be enough. And I bought the wrong weight. So then I had to buy it again. So I have bought so many skeins of this yarn. I finally was like, you gotta make this. So when I made it, by the time I was done, it was like having a rabbit in my lap. It was so fluffy. And Brooke's like, yeah, I think I kind of told you that was gonna bloom. I was like, yeah, I don't think I really understood that. Yes, exactly. It was oh yeah, well, I'm chain piecing like a production sewer. So I'm gonna do my binding now. Oh, my stitch length feels really long right now. On the vinyl, it really gets a good hold sometimes. Sometimes it drags, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, I bought, in the end, I have so much of this yarn. I still have probably 3 full skeins of it. And she stopped. So I'm really glad I bought what I did, because she stopped. She retired. The yarn company is called Toots LeBlanc, and I would only run into her at really nice shows. And she and her husband would come and do it. All right, so this is a little zippered pocket. I'm not even really talking about what I'm sewing. So when I bind, I always start from the back of the item. This is homemade binding, but I really took care when I made it and pressed all my seams open, because it was for my daughter's quilt, and it was really wide. I had never bound something with, 1 inch, like a fat 1 inch finished binding before. I've only ever done it like this. And so then when I pull to this side, the right side, the last stitch I'm sewing is what I see. So I don't have to worry about how it looks on the back. But, I actually did hit it on the back, so it's fine. But what I like to do is I put that fold just past the stitch line, and then I stitch right on the stitch line, and then I know I nail it. So I need to get a zipper. Let's see. Don't I have cream zipper sitting here? What color is this? Oh, but I'm gonna do cream. Here we go. It was enough yarn, Daphne, but yeah, I mean, those special, because this is a rabbit and I don't even remember. So yeah, it's kind of special yarn. When you saw it before you knit it, it was pretty amazing. Yeah, you can get like a fresh to clean your washing machine. Just do it regularly. Don't wait until it's dirty. How do I know that? All right, so I'm gonna put the zipper on here. When I do zippers like this, like when you're putting zippers on a pocket, they're really easy to sew. You really don't have to worry a whole lot about putting a zipper on like you do on a piece of clothing. It's totally different. I'm just gonna fully just slap it on here. I'm using a zipper by the yard too, so you know, just to make our mine's ease, I'll stitch across the ends. And then I'm gonna bind edge the top of the zipper itself so that I can just top stitch it to the wallet, and then I have a fully independent pocket. I just backstitch, that's so funny. So you don't have to bind the top edge, it just looks nicer, that's all. I'm kind of just prepping all my pieces and getting ready to go. I'm gonna even up this edge here. All right, so this one goes, let's see. Did I do that wrong? Oh yeah, so the coin pocket goes like this. I really wish I would have slid this down. Ah! Yeah, right, Megan? Oh yeah. Hi, Sydney, how's it going? So yeah, this would be better like this, but even though my pocket goes in this way, when you're holding the, oh, actually, maybe I'm glad that's down lower because this is going to cover it, you know? So my pocket looks like it's upside down, but see, I put all these, I was very specific in how I sewed the houses. Why not, right? All right, so I'm just going to top stitch this down and line up all those edges. Oh, I didn't make this wider. I forgot to make this wider to match my, the new width. That's okay, my binding will catch that. All right, so we're okay there. So now we have this piece. We have our stiffener right here. And then we have this lining piece right here, like this. This is my start of my wallet. I'm just gonna tack all these together. Just a little bit here and there. Like that. Maybe having matching binding would be better. Oh yeah, Daphne. I mean, this sweater, I mean, like you can see how fluffy it is. And I noticed today there was like this long of the fuzz coming off of it. The first time I wore it, I was driving up to the show where I bought it. And I was like, in the car, I just felt like it was everywhere. Oh yeah, exactly, Eliza. I know. It's like when you have a front loader, it's like your washing machine needs a dehumidifier. Yeah, you know, Terry, it's the front loaders that need the detergent, the laundry detergent, the washer detergent. I feel like I'm on the cusp of needing a new washing machine, and I shouldn't, but I kind of want to research like what is a good one for garments, you know? All right, so let's see. So now I'm going to put on all my little pockets here. And so this is, you start from the top. I'm going to line up my notches here. This is why I had to sew a sample, because I need to remember how these go together before I tell other people. You don't even need to finish this edge. It's going to be covered up by the next pocket. This is my problem. It's like I tell people all the time, you should use fabric you don't like to make your sample, right? And here I am, not even using the other one first. I'm doing the one I really want first. Like I can't even resist myself, you know? I'm a little cocky, thinking it's all gonna work. So let's see, I'm lining these up with notches and I'm just sewing them flat. And then this last one, I'm gonna do upside down. like this. Oh, I thought I figured that out. Do I need to line it up? That's what it is. Okay. Let me do this one again. All right, so I'll do the Clio tomorrow. What's the fabric? Here's the fabric. It's pretty cute. Do you like it better now, Megan? I love poking you. I think that the meerkat fabric would be really cute. I kind of want to make one out of denim for myself, or just maybe even I have a canvas. Oh, I have this. I actually have I bought this fabric and I thought it was canvas. And it was canvas, but it was meant for upholstery. But it's got these koi fish swimming on it. All right, so this one, I need to line up like this. And then I get the same spacing. And this is the top half of my wallet. See how having different fabrics would differentiate them a little better? That's what we did when we made them for sale. Now, what I don't like about this one is, see, this one I think I do this, and then when I pull it up, let's see. I want them about a 1/2 inch. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do this again. This. What I don't like about this bottom pocket is that the seam shows through the vinyl window right here. But theoretically you have your license in there, and I could make this so that it was all fabric behind it, but I'm trying to keep the pattern really simple to sew and not confusing, and the smallest number of pieces for folks. Because it is, you know, a downloadable pattern, and I know people like it to be kind of less than more sometimes. I don't know, I feel like people are in different camps for that. Ironing this would be a great idea before you put the vinyl on. So now I have the guts of my billfold. I'm gonna bind just this 2 edges. Nope, these 2 edges right here. And then we put it all together and we're done. But even still, like when I think I made these, they were valued at something like $32. I didn't make money on that. She hasn't gotten it yet, Sydney, but I did conquer my fear of ironing it, and it looked so much better. I learned how to steam it and shape it a little bit, and I feel like it could even use more of that. I almost took it to a dry cleaner because I feel like they would have known exactly what to do, but I felt like I really wanted to understand it, and I also didn't want to put it in someone else's hands just in case, you know, but I actually feel like they could have done an amazing job. So, and I told the gals, like, hey, if you take this to a dry cleaner, they might be able to professionally press this and it'll look tip-top, you know. But I took new pictures of it. The problem is the dress form I'm trying to use to hold it, because I need to take the pictures, is not, it's like a quarter the size, you know? It's like a really wrong size for that. So I even put like something across the shoulders for the photos to kind of fill out the coat, and it helped a lot. So I'm really excited to see it on the person it's intended for. I hope I get to see a picture. All right, so here we go. There's the inside of my wallet. And now all I have to do is bind it, and I'm done. And so here's the money goes right here. Oh, that's right. I need to stitch this down. Do I? Maybe I just need to go to like here. I always stitched it to here. What would I want? But I need to do that before it's tacked. I forgot about that. So I'm actually gonna tack it to the stiffener. So I'm gonna untack this right here. See, you just never remember what you needed till you're doing it again, you know? Yeah, exactly, Walter. Totally. Yeah, I was actually pretty disappointed with one of the sweaters I knitted because the sweater pattern was incredible. And actually, it's, you know when Julia Farwell Clay's here? It's her design. It's amazing. It's called Hiro, Hiro. And it turned out amazing, but it pills like a mother. And so I hardly wear it. I wear it once a year. But it's just turned out so great. And I'm so disappointed in the yarn and the company. Because I've made their sweaters in their yarn before and they were fine. So, yeah. Yeah, so I shipped the coat today. I dropped it off. Yeah, but yeah, exactly, Walter. You know a lot about that. I don't know if yak pills. I think like you're saying, it depends on... Hi, Georgiana. Good morning. I'm really thinking about you all down there in Australia. Like it's actually something on my mind a lot right now. Pretty worried about you. I was telling a friend recently, before the fires had gotten to the point that they were at in Australia, I was telling her, I was like, you know, I really wanted to get it out of my system to do this like 1 year retrospective of like how to talk to someone who's been through a fire or some sort of something like that. But it's like, I'm not like that on my business area. And in my personal one, there's actually a lot of people in my personal Instagram that I don't know who they are because my Instagram's public, my personal one. So, you know, I don't want to be like scolding people, but I do feel like I would have liked knowing some of these things, like donating things to people, like survivors of something like a fire where they lose everything is nice, but they do not need those things for months because they don't have a place to store them or use them. They might not even find a home for a year. Like there are people still here displaced, you know? And it's like, I don't want to tell people things like that to make them depressed or sad, but I just want them to be as helpful as possible because they want to know that they're doing good. Don't ever say to someone, so are things getting back to normal 2 months afterward? You know, because it's not. You know, stuff like that. I just feel like that would be handy. Or like, I remember seeing people post pictures of themselves wearing masks in the Bay Area saying like the new chic and what to wear because it was smoke. The smoke was blowing that far. It's like 3 hours away. And I remember thinking, that's rude. Like we can't even, like a mask doesn't even do anything here. We're like, you know, asthmatics have had to leave the state. You know, it was so insensitive, you know, and I felt like, yeah, maybe you should think about those your neighbors, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So they just need they need a home, you know. They need security, safety, and money. That's what they need. All right. Okay, so I'm not a fan of this little pocket right here. But I really need the coin pocket. But I don't like how it sticks out, you know? Maybe I will sew it. Why is it? This isn't how I sewed it. That's why it's bugging me. This isn't how I made it. Ha ha ha. Yeah, and psychological support and just someone just to be there with them. You know? And, you know, it's just like, I feel like I wasn't as attached to this area, but the fire kind of made me more attached to this area because being around people who've been through that, and I didn't even lose my home. I've just went through it with my parents losing theirs and my brother, you know? So it's like, just being around people that have been through that is kind of good. Because it's kind of a part of my life way more than I even talk about it with you guys, you know, because you guys aren't here for that. you know? And I'm fine with that. Like I don't want to talk about it all the time either. I was seeing like gamers posting about like, you know, because there's a lot of Australian streamers, and some people, gamers were like, that weren't in Australia, were saying things like, wow, there's so many animals dying in Australia. And I'm like, well, that's pretty sad, of course, but there's also people running for their lives, you know? So it's good to, I feel like if that's what it takes for you to pay attention to what's going on, is that it being about something that really care about, but just don't forget that there are humans there too, you know? This is how it was. This is how it was. This piece of binding is unnecessary, and it'll just add bulk. So I'm going to take it off. I saw Kylie and the Machine doing this huge effort to make those cooling ties for firefighters. I was like, that is really cool. And then apparently they can't take them. And they made a lot. Really, what a bummer. And then Peppermint Magazine's also doing something. And then I saw some knitwear designers. And, I saw, I think, oh no, it's not Spoonflower. I was kind of disappointed in Spoonflower because they were just fundraising for something else. But Canva, which many of you probably don't even know about or use, but it's a online graphic source that I use for everything. If you buy one of any of the graphics that I use in my thumbnails and stuff, if I buy one, all the proceeds are going towards relief efforts. So I thought that was cool. All right. But the zoo is all sitting Target, yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, what effort when you have to evacuate animals. You guys don't want to know this, but that they evacuated all kinds of animals and pets to our local airport here, which doesn't have major airline service. It just gets, like, once we moved here, right afterwards, they kind of discontinued those big services like United and stuff, because we're pretty close to Sacramento. You know, we get like UPS and FedEx and private planes, and that's about it. So they evacuated all the animals there. There are still a lot of animals there that haven't been picked up by their owners, because their owners don't have a place that can take an animal. It's really sad. All right, so here we go. That looks way better, right? Yeah, they can't move animals. Oh, Arcus. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's so great that you said quality secondhand items, because my mom and dad were desperate for clothes. They didn't really have it in them to shop or go to a store. Like, just being in public was just really hard. And so they would go to some of these places where there were other people like them, and they would just get like basics. And they were really offended by what people were donating, because it was kind of disrespectful. It's like that kind of sentiment of, well, they're desperate. They should be thankful for anything. And they were just like, what the heck, you know? They are thankful for everything, but just that was kind of like a, ooh, I don't know about that. All right. Okay, now I'm back on track. I remember this because I remember binding around that zipper on the last step was a little tricky. And so what I did yesterday by making it wider was I gave myself more clearance right here. So when my binding is sitting here, it's really easy to get in there. Because I remember I used to sometimes nick this opening with the binding. So I don't really want that to happen. So now I have all my layers. They're looking a little loose. Just kind of tacking them down. I've got some like threads in here, and they're going to be so hard to get out later. I got to get them out now. All right. I mean, you know, the house is okay. my house stitching. Oh, you know. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Like, think about what you would want. Yeah. All right, so I just need my elastic. I can't forget that. Let's see. Do I have a piece just sitting here? Okay, maybe not. So this is one of the reasons I really liked using braided elastic. Bed bugs. All right, so I always like braided elastic because it's fairly attractive when it's not covered up. You guys can't really see, can you? And it really holds. Like, unless it gets nicked somewhere along the line, it actually stands up. It doesn't get stretched out like some of them do. I'm trying to think of the right one. Is the knitted elastic that I feel like does that? But here's another piece of braided. So the braided has this kind of cordy texture to it. I really like this. This is my favorite, you know? I kind of like, that was my only issue with making the free range slacks, was that I really wanted to use braided elastic, but I couldn't find it in a 2-inch width anywhere. All right, so this is my wallet, and the elastic's gonna go like this. Scientific, eh? All right, so then when you do something like this, you just need to do it flat. Like, you don't need to twist the elastic or be creative. You just do it flat because that's how it's going to sit. But I will tell you, one thing I learned was that when I tack it, that tacking needs to end up inside where the binding's going to be. Because when you pull apart this, when the elastic gets pulled around the wallet, you can see underneath there. So you got to kind of make sure it looks good. Yeah, right, Sarah? So true. I would actually, when like schools have fundraisers, like my kid would have to participate in those, I would call the school and say, is there a buyout option? Because I would much rather give you cash, right? Yeah, right, Eliza? Yeah, no, I just use elastic because it's like something we could do in production, and it's actually really easy to get in and out of the wallet, and it's really secure. And it got us out of, doing a snap, because I don't have a snap setter. This is why I got into that discussion earlier about like why I did some of the things I did. We really just, didn't have the means to do it production style, and I didn't want to buy a snap setter for 1 or 2 products. I'd have to start converting all my products to get the best out of it. I still have a brand new heat transfer machine I barely used, so. Yeah, that's true. I guess if you don't have cash, it is good to have an option like that. Or even just time. If you have time, some folks can use volunteer hours. All right, so I just start on the inside because I'm not going to examine this as much as I'm going to look at the outside of this all the time. So I'm going to go around. I kind of gently pull when I put binding on. When I get to this elastic, I make sure it's straight. I know you're not sewing one of these. I'm just trying to say these things as tips if you're ever... Why did the seam end up right near? So I'm going to try and make sure those stitchings near that, where that elastic gets pulled, are going to get completely covered. This is, I can already tell this is way easier to sew than it used to be, because this was always a really tricky part, getting past the bill fold. And now I'm to the end where the zipper is on the other side. So I got to move my zipper. I actually think I remember posting a video of us sewing these, just this step. It's a fun one to watch being bound. All right, and when I start and stop my binding, this is what I do. I fold down the first spot, and then I just let the last spot go to that edge or just past it. I don't seam it together, in other words. Bye, Eliza. Yeah, exactly, Georgiana. Yeah. We do what we can. Yeah, well, I'm probably going to make this a Patreon patron gift. So you'll probably see me sew 1 or 2 more. You don't have to rewatch the first 85 minutes. How long have I been live? I'm just trimming this. So when I do binding, I like to make the seam allowance even, and I want it to be the width that the binding is going to finish, because I feel like when I first started binding, what I would do is I would trim it a little too small. And then when I put my binding on, your width is fixed. You have to be wherever the stitching is, right? So say I trimmed this edge within 1/8 of an inch of that. I can only fold this to the stitching, right? So then the binding would be slack in there. It would be like, you know, loose like this, right? You don't want that. You want it to be filled up in there. That's why I always say fill up the binding in there. So that's why I try and keep the width of the seam allowance, the width of the binding that I'm going to finish. I'm kind of rethinking this choice of binding for this. I think it's really cute and it's color coordinated, but it's a little too showy. I think it would be subtle, better to let the stitching of the houses shine and be a navy blue, you know? So I just put the fold just past that first stitch that I just sewed the binding on with. If you ever got one of these from me, I sewed the whole thing. And I did a better job back then than I am today. It's been a few years since I made this. It's my last chance. Do I add my label or not? Do I add my label or not? Eh. Yeah, it depends exactly on the company. So I've actually worked, there's a lot of actually answers to that. They're kind of interesting, but for a clothing brand, like a clothing brand that you buy clothes in the store for, if they're manufacturing overseas, what they'll end up doing, it depends on the company and their budget. They will send either sketches, they will send first patterns, samples, a collage of sorts, like, oh, we want this pocket, this collar, even if it's piece, like a sketch or a 3D sample, like an actual sewn sample. Sometimes they'll hammer it all the way out, give it the pattern and the garment to them. But they, in my experience, those factories never use your pattern. They reverse engineer or make their own pattern. They're geniuses. Their pattern drafting is really good. I've worked mostly doing this in the outdoor industry in really technical patterns. The only thing we couldn't, you know, we actually, I've only worked places where we made everything in-house. I worked one place where part of our line went overseas and part of it was made in-house. And I worked on all the patterns that were made. They weren't made in-house, they were made in California factories though. And we were in Colorado. And so here's my wallet. Not bad, eh? Yeah, if you're talking about a pattern company that makes home sew patterns for sale, they're probably making them themselves. So, but I used to work, like, so I met this one pattern drafter, because we both won that Apex Award the same year for different things. And so I met her, and she worked for Mountain Hardware. Have you guys heard of Mountain Hardware? She was, and I think she still is the pattern drafter there. So she actually made it through the transition of when they exported all of their pattern drafting. And she told me, I was like, so what are you doing? And she's like, you wouldn't believe how I do it now. She would do a full 100% scale drawing of the garment. So the jacket would look like the jacket would end up being, but it was drawn to scale. And that's what they would ship over there. And with a ton of other spec sheets. Like, I've made spec packages that were over 20 pages long, and I'll bet hers were bigger than that, because they're speccing everything from the weight of every fabric, every little piece of hardware, the distances. So, you know, it would be to scale, and then they would probably specify what kind of grommet or whatever was there. So yeah, you're thinking more of brands. So yeah, that's exactly, like, that's what she did. And last I saw her, she was living 6 months in Boulder and 6 months in Patagonia. like the country, and working only 6 months a year. Like she was winding down. She was a little bit older than me, not much, but she was really outdoors. She was surfing. So, and I remember, I just remember her. I never really got to know her really well. It was just cool to talk to another pattern drafter. We were so rare. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to move into my wallet. I'm going to do it off camera so you can't see all my stuff. I just want to see how it fits. You know? Oh yeah, this is so much easier to use than last time. So excited, you guys. Oh my gosh. I was wondering, do I need, put the health. Oh, I remember. I used to have a wallet like this. Now I'm remembering how I did it. Yay! Ooh, I have cash. I can put in my wallet. What's this? Oh, that's a little receipt. Okay. So let me just cover up my... So here's my little thing. This was what I was using. So I'll just... I don't want to ruin that pattern piece. What the heck? My kingdom for a piece of paper. When all else fails, fabric will do. I just wanted to see that so look. So I have my cards here, my cash, my license. I can put coins right there so I can see my coins. Cool. Yay, I'm so glad to finally have a wallet again. Let's make one more. Now that we know what we're doing. All right, so this one I'm going to be using a dark binding. Yeah, right, Carol? It's simple. I don't have a lot in my wallet, but I always made this wallet work even before mine was stolen. It keeps you honest, you know? I don't take the punch cards that you get from places, you know, like buy 10, get one free. If it's not like used with my phone number, I just skip it. All right, so here's my pockets again. Let's see, it's $12.49. I just want to see how long it takes me to make one, because I'm even though I'm not a production sewer, I like to know. Did any of you become testers for the project bag? I never asked you guys. Night, Louise. Nice seeing you. Take care. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow when we're making dungarees. I think they even sent like the hardware and everything for them. Hearts is so great. They had sent me an email like, I think right before Christmas saying, hey, we're putting together a package for you. We got this couple patterns. Let us know what you think. Is there anything you were looking for? Blah, blah, blah. And I didn't reply because I was just kind of in vacation mode. And I'm like, I'm going to wait. And they seem like they already had their answer, right? And then, really, Sarah? Ooh. See, I'm not in the test group because I told her, I'm like, I don't really want to know. You're cutting one out. Well, that is so exciting. It's so crazy that there's people making that pattern to me. But when I finally replied to them, I was like, oh yeah, those look great. I'm really excited about that Cleo. Because when they said Cleo something, they said Cleo top. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that one is. I didn't know the dungarees either though. And when I said, oh yeah, that looks great, they were like, oh my gosh, we thought you weren't into it because we hadn't heard from you. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm into it. Okay, so I have to do a little bit of jockeying between thread colors. But what do I have to do that's going to be cream? I don't think anything else. I just needed the hem of these pockets. So let's see if my iron cam's working. I'm going to iron these this time. I think it'll be a nicer look, you know, if I iron. Yeah, I think I've already written a ton of notes on what I'm going to do to that project bag pattern for release. Like, I really thought I would always talk about my awl that I use and the vinyl and stiffener. And she was like, there's no information about that. I was like, are you serious? I actually noticed in all this that I noticed some things were on the pattern instructions and are now not there. So I lost them somewhere along the line, probably when we were rearranging some other aspect. So, but that's why we're doing the test, right? Don't you love how I sew the one that I'm not using better than I sew mine? The heck, man. Cobbler's children, right? Am I right? Wait, where am I? This one right here. Okay, so I need to do the binding on this. So let's switch our thread out. So Sarah, what kind of machine do you have that you were able to sew the project bag? I sewed one on my Bernina that's, well, I don't think of it as old, but I'm realizing now it's 20 years old. When did that happen? You know? It's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna bind my vinyl first. Where'd my binding go? Dang, I'm gonna iron this while I walk by looking for my binding. Where'd my little pile go? Remember I had that nice little pile? Where is it? Make sure it didn't end up in the trash. You know? Oh, here it is. Found it. Perfect. Oh, it's on the wool setting, no wonder. Oh, I could have ironed that one too, huh? There's no ironing in production sewing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I really liked my mom's Bernina when I was growing up, you know. Really liked that one. I don't remember what it was. And she didn't have it, like that wasn't the most recent machine she had, so I think it did eventually die, but it was pretty old when I started on it. And I really liked it. It was so steady. Okay, this one's on the, has the angle for the license. Don't you love it when you don't have to get your license out? What's right here? There we go. There's a fuzzy right there. Those are so satisfying. You have a Janome home. Okay. The ends and then the bottoms. Ah. Oh. Interesting. I'd be curious to see how that goes. Yeah, it's like I was saying, like they're like when you start, when it, you know, like when you spend that much time on a pattern, you start thinking about all the different ways that you could do things. I mean, when I did the pin cushion with you guys, I figured out a better way to sew that I wish I would have thought of when I was making those and selling them. And I didn't know, like, I don't know. I feel like when I first said, I'm going to make these patterns for sale, I think there was a very small percentage of people that were like, that's great because they were interested in making them and selling the bags. And so it was hard for me not to think of creating the pattern geared towards that type of sewist, trying to make it exactly the way it was, you know. So not everybody is gonna make it like that. It's all about the wool. What do you mean, Walter? All right, so I have a black zipper sitting here for this guy. So I always use zipper by the yard. I still have a huge amount of it for, like, it's not like I don't have it for sale, but I would sell it to someone, and it's just so great, you know? All right, so I don't have to bind the top of the zipper, just both of the vinyl, because now remember that it goes to the other end of the pocket. I mean, it goes like this, right? We have this. And so now we have this is the only drawback. I probably could have attached all of these pockets with the cream thread before I switched, because my thread might show through. But the card will be on top, right? There's always a workaround. Is that it? Did I just get that one not lined up very well? All right, and this is my bottom one, right? So I do this, meet it up to the edge, like this. This time we'll iron that. It looks like, I'm so glad I lined it up. You know? This one. And this one. All right, let's iron this real quick. I'll bring you with me this time. This one's flying, exactly. I know, that first one's always, you know, it's the pancake. Takes forever because you get all excited to put the batter on the pan, and the pan's not even heated up yet. If you're like me. Me, impatient. Okay, I didn't line that up that great, but maybe I can kind of do this. Ooh, isn't that so pleasing when it all lines up? I wanted to use this fabric for so long. Yeah, exactly. I see what you mean. Yeah, I know. I was sewing or ironing the cascade, so it was still in the wool setting. Okay, so yeah, it's not a fancy wallet. Does the trick though. Okay, so this one needs the binding around the perimeter, and then I'm gonna stitch it to this piece here. Now, did I line up the, oh, I did. Kind of. Kind of. It's so funny how after a certain amount of time streaming, all your guys' names start changing color. Whereas at the beginning, they're the same color during the whole stream. So when I do the binding, I start from the back. You guys all know this so well now, don't you? When I turn corners, sometimes I'll do one stitch at an angle. Like when it's this really thin fabric. Sometimes I just pivot right on the corner. I don't spend time mitering or doing any of that hoo-ha. You don't do that in production. There are machines that do it for you, but mine didn't and we didn't. I met a gal that's looking for an industrial machine. I was like, oh, hey, I could sell you one of mine. It has a binding attachment on it. I swear, people would buy that machine just because it has a binding attachment on it. Here's the secret, you guys. The binding attachment cost me $35, and you can Google how to find one. $35. The thing is that I have the machine set up on the binding attachment, and it never did anything else. But it can. It's identical to the other machines I had. I just set that one up for binding. So I'd probably need to get a different throat plate for it, you know? Ah, that's great, Beverly. Which Rowenta did you get? Which one? That's what I use. Okay, so now this is ready. Yeah, I like the Rowenta. It's kind of tried and true. But those other ones that people get look really great. I think it's just whatever works for you. Oh, this one? Yeah, it's a really great iron, and the steam is so good. I know that there's better irons out there, but for the money, it's, you know, I think it's 80 bucks at Target. Okay, that kind of bugs me, but, you know. Here, let's put my label on this one. If I put it here, what's it gonna cover up on the license? Oh, not much. It covers up my birth date's written again right there. Oh, never mind. I already have the binding there. Womp womp. I could do it right here. Maybe like that. You know? Oh, I should have measured the elastic. Like a mood ring. Oh, wait, why did I say that's like a mood ring? Okay, so I'm going to stitch down this. I kind of liked doing it the 3/4 of the way, you know, like having this little lip. Because it's folded. Oh, thanks for hosting us, Cheeky. How's it going? Is my audio out of alignment? Let me look at Twitch. Hey, guys. Oh, Lisa, sorry, I just saw your question on Twitch. I don't know how long you said that. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble with my unified chat, so most folks are over on YouTube. This is a pattern that I used to make and sell, and I decided that I'm going to make it available to all the Patreon patrons as just one of the benefits to being a Patreon patron. But I think the entry level on Patreon is $5. So if you want it and you become a Patreon patron, you can just do it for the $5, and then once your thing comes up, you can discontinue it. But I'm planning on doing, I'd like to get up to a free pattern every month, but I really want to make sure it's a pattern that you'd want. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to just make things for things that I wouldn't want. So that's my goal. I'm going to spend more time this year trying to give back to you guys for supporting me. And if it generates content like doing this is great, because then I can stream and talk about things and then also have a pattern to give you guys, you know? So let's see. Don't those lines look wiggly? Okay, I could have planned that better, I know, but it's our first stream of the year and we were chatting a lot. So that's my excuse. Okay, so here's my elastic. So this time we're going to measure it. Kind of how I want it to be. And what I do when I'm doing elastic's always so mysterious, isn't it? I put it around and it's not stretched right now at all. And so I know that if I cut the elastic to meet, it's going to stretch a little bit once it gets sewn in, because you need your seam allowance. Basically, you need this overlap amount, right? So that's the that's what I'm doing. I don't really need this to be fully stretched, because you don't want the elastic to eventually give out. You don't need to stress the elastic out. not in a situation like this. Like, you know, it's the same with like pants. You know, I feel like it's, you want to feel that the pants are like on you. You're not gonna get pantsed really quick. Oh yeah, your nature changed your color like mood rings. It is. It's totally like that to me. It's like a, I don't know what it looks like you guys in your screen, but on YouTube, the colors shift. It's actually really pretty. They kind of go like, it'll be all citrus colors, and then yeah, then like this like Streamlabs will automatically be in the chat, and it'll be like this really great periwinkle blue in the middle. I love it. But yeah, like when you're wearing pants and you're trying to figure out your elastic measurement, the old rule when I was learning to sew was -2 inches of your waist measurement. But the thing about that is, that's why I never answer that when you ask me how should I make my elastic for my waist, like for the circle skirt that Unica is making. It depends on your elastic, because I feel like the knitted elastic is so soft and gushy that you almost want to do like -6 inches because it really feels like you're not wearing anything. It doesn't feel very positive. So, all right, Rachel. Yes. Happy New Year. It's so good to see you. Happy sewing. I know you're always working on an ambitious list of projects, so I can't wait to see what you're up to. I'm good, Cheeky. How was your stream? Were you streaming? I'm still so bad about doing things like that. Every time I go off, I look for someone to raid. I feel like things like that make me look really old when I'm trying to do stuff like that. That's when I'm waiting for someone to be like, okay, boomer, you know? All right, I have just enough binding. I kind of calculated it that way. I was like, okay, this piece is big enough. I don't know if you notice, I'm always looking for my good start and stop for my binding. So I try and keep it away from all this area here because it's bulkier. It has the zipper. It has the vinyl. Vinyl is a little thicker than cotton because it's less porous too. And I also think of this as being like a side of the wallet I'm going to see. Same with this. You wouldn't want it anywhere here on a curve, right? This is kind of the back of the wallet, and that's why I've been choosing over here. This would be thinner to do it on this side. The only reason I don't is because I don't really want to bump to navigate around with my money, my bills. So I actually think a lot about these things. I probably should mention some of those things a little more out loud, especially anyone wanting to do stuff like this as a business. Working at some of the places I worked at really taught me to think about things a little bit differently. And it really helped. And I feel like I'm always learning about that stuff and new ways to think about it. And I love that kind of thing. It's really interesting. I like logistics and planning. I like articulation for fit, you know. Night, Malin. Hasta mañana, iguana. Maybe. So I do really like trying to think it through. And there, you know, like when I'm doing a new design, literally 80% of the time I don't think of everything, and I will be like, I thought of everything. Even my assistant would be like, ooh, that sample's gonna be good, and sometimes I would get 3/4 of the way through and I'd be like, nope, not gonna work, and I'd have to throw it in the trash, and she'd be like, wow, didn't see that coming. Oh dang, I did see that coming though. That's why I had a little bobbin here. I don't do this very often because I'm streaming, clean out my bobbin case, but I really have to because I'm mostly sew on camera now. I'm not production sewing, but I usually do this after every bobbin change, and that's what my mechanic told me to do, and it makes a huge difference because when you get that buildup in there, your timing will get off. The timing is everything. People think it's the tension. Tension's important, but timing is, you ain't doing squat without good timing. Kind of like a joke, right? So of course I ran out on the edge where there's vinyl, so I had to make sure that I covered up the holes I just made. It wasn't hard, but you know, it's kind of like, really, there? All right. Oh, sorry guys. Got my little wallet. This one's a little more understated. I like it. I like it. I have no use for it, but hey, it's a good sample, right? Oh, you made some So Cheeky Crafts in Twitch. She's hosting my channel. They made beds for the Australian animals. That's awesome. We've been talking about that. Did you see that Peppermint Magazine has some projects to make Cheeky for some of the animals? I don't know if you're still here. Maybe you're trying to get off now, go to bed or whatever. But if you're still here, I saw Peppermint Magazine, and someone even sent the post to me, which I appreciated. My scissors are they're sucking big time lately. So getting like these thicknesses and close, I'm really sorry I'm struggling. This isn't like me to let my scissors get like this, but I'm kind of slacking now, you know? That's great. The little animal bed, not dog beds, but animal beds, that's great. The things I saw Peppermint Magazine's making are things for bats. They're saying knitters and crocheters can make birds' nests. There's Joey pouches. Those are all things that we don't, maybe the bird's nest, but we don't really think about a lot of those things here in the States. It's not the type of things we'd be making for animals, so it's kind of cool. A totally unique project. Okay, last stitch. Do I like where this is? Yeah, the tag will be fine right there. See, if I put it on the outside, it would sit like this, the tag. And I've been kind of doing this thing with my tag where I will stitch it down right here in the crease so that it stays flat. Because I picked about as many colors as you could imagine, and there's a lot going on back there. It's really thick. I didn't expect that that's what I was going to do for my label. It just was like, huh, looks like I could do this for my label. It's a mysterious artifact. So when someone sees something I made in a used store someday, and there's like, it'll be this mysterious thing. People will be like, you know, I've seen things with this weird label on it before. I wonder who that person was. Why did she look like a clown on her label? I know, just being hard on myself. I forgot to do some stitches right after I changed my bobbin, which was dumb. Because then I had that like little tail right there. And it's so hard to see on the navy blue thread. I had this year where every time I had a customer email and say, you know, something's up with my bag, it was always that we had coincidentally run out of thread while attaching a black strap onto a bag, right? And because it's black, we wouldn't see it. We would notice when we go into the next thing, oh, I'm out of thread, but we would forget to go back and look at what were we just sewing to see, did I run out now or did I run out like a few stitches ago? And it took me a while to get into the habit. Like I got into the habit immediately when the first one came through, but there were a few things probably on the shelf. I don't know why it just started happening. I think it's one of those things. You get attentive about some things and other things kind of fall by the wayside, and then you get attentive about other things, you know? That was one thing we started doing. All right, so I'm up to this elastic. Oh, this is what I wanted to check. Was you need to really sew close to the edge, really close to the edge of the fold, because when this gets pulled like this is what you're gonna see. I'm pulling really hard right now. It actually sits like that. But that's what I was talking about. You don't want to stitch really far into the binding like here. And look, you can actually see, look at that. Just like what I was telling you, don't do, you can see my stitches. And these aren't my, this is where I tacked the elastic on. This is my face. You know? So, that's what I'm talking about. You want to make sure you are making sure that your binding doesn't show when the elastic pulls apart. There we go. Okay. That was a good reminder. It'll be far more hidden on this one. What's my line? Is my lining light? Ooh, I feel like I may have gone onto my lining. It is light. I use the tapered tailor's awl. It's so great when I'm doing binding. All right. Yeah, see, I got off there. I always do that on the curve. So I'm gonna fix that. But not bad everywhere else. That's a cute little wallet. Very simple and understated. Got your coin pouch. License. I don't know, is this gonna work European? Like what's the size of your ID? I better pay attention to stuff like that, right? Oh, okay, so you got the pattern, Cheeky, somewhere? That's awesome. So is that from the peppermint? Okay. The shipping does take a while. And shipping to Australia is the most expensive place I've ever shipped. You know? So, but the thing is, they're going to need those things for so long that sadly they're going to need those things for a while. So your efforts will be used for sure. Trust me. All right, so let's take out this section here. So I'm going to make the Cleo dungarees by Tilly and the Buttons tomorrow. That seems like something I could actually maybe cut and sew Friday and Saturday. Then we'll be back on track next week for like cutting Wednesday, sewing part 1 Thursday or whatever it is, and sewing part 2 on Saturday. Yeah, exactly, Georgiana. I know, I would have customers really upset with me, and I was always surprised that they thought I set the rate. You know? It's like, that's not me. I would even eat it on about $15 of the shipping. I never told them that. Just because I was like, oh, you know, I really appreciate you making a purchase from so far away, you know? Like, that's a lot of trust. Like, being that patient to get your bag or whatever, because so many people are in that, I want it tomorrow. You know, we get so excited. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Georgiana says, she's in Australia, Cheeky. She says that they'll need that for a while, so it'll be great. You know? All right, you guys. Oh, so Cheeky, you can send it to Germany and they will send it to Australia. Oh, that's interesting. There's Facebook pages that provide the patterns and the info. Good to know. I know a lot of folks are on Facebook and in some of the sewing groups here. All right, you guys, I'm going to fix this and I'm going to see you tomorrow. So we'll be doing those Cleo dungarees in that really great like linen cotton canvas. And that's going to be a sponsor stream by Hearts Fabric. They're always really kind and send us fun stuff to sew. You made those, PA? Hi, PA. It was one of your first things that you ever made and it was exhausting. Uh-oh. Do I need to know anything? Oh, really, Georgiana? Like, bigger is better? Because that didn't seem like it when people... Because the thing is, like, that's what some of the Australians would do. I think they would get a few friends together and they would buy a lot of stuff. So not only was it a big package, the insurance on it would be quite a sum, you know? And I didn't insure things. But some of the internationals is, you know... default. Okay, Cheeky. Nice seeing you. Thanks for the host. Welcome, all of you. All the sewists out there. In a stretch corduroy. Oh, does that pattern need stretch? Uh-oh. Oh. All right, so let's fix my binding here. So I always do that. I get a little overzealous pulling on this side. And so I could tell. I was like, remember when I said, oh, is my lining light? I remember this problem. My first stitching line is way back there, and I was stitching right here. So you just gotta like respect where you were already stitching. I'm talking to myself here. I'm not telling you guys that. It helps, but I'm telling myself, Jeremy, you know better. So I'm gonna back this off. I'm sorry it's so dark too. It's dark for me too. My awl, I can hold it back here. If you like the binder clips, you can use those. I never really got the hang of them, but I think they're really cool. I kind of push it away and then I push it down when it gets above the spot I want to be. All right, do we think I did it? I think I fell off one more spot. I did it, all right. That's when the Dora the Explorer song goes through my head. We did it, yay! No suspimos. Awesome, Laura. Wow, that's awesome. They're too baggy. Oh, okay. That's pretty cute. This zipper feels really bulky to me now. Been in the clothing world a little longer. And you know what's great about this well is washable. Throw the whole thing in the washer. No problem. Your dollar bills. I act like I'm marketing this to you. I guess I am because it, you know, if you're a Patreon patron, you're gonna get it. But you know, you put your cards. But yeah, if you Euros, let me know. Are your credit cards the same size, but is your ID something like that would fit in here? Because mine is the size of a credit card. In the States it is. The driver's license is what we use. I mean, I know a passport wouldn't fit in there. It's actually the size of a passport. Cool. Well, I'm going to keep working on this pattern to give to you guys. And then I'll do a video on how to sew it. That'll be a standalone video. I'm trying to decide if I think I might just do that for that and not do another stream for it. So cool. All right. Well, let's see. The Clio is over there. Oh well. But it is like a overall dress. What did we call those? When I worked at Bum Equipment, we had kids versions of those. It wasn't a short all because that would be a short version. I think we called them coveralls. Overalls were the pants and coveralls were the dresses, but I can't remember. So anyway, I think they call them dungarees, the Clio dungarees by Tilly and the Buttons. And I'll be here live 11 a.m. Pacific. My name is Jeremy. I'm on Instagram, so live. Happy New Year. Really glad to see you guys. I really missed you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And we'll be cutting those out. I gotta pre-wash that fabric, darn it. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hasta mañana, iguanas. Thanks for coming by and saying hi to me. I will see you soon. Where's my stream ending? There it is. Okay, bye. Oh wait, do I do my thumbnail? How do I do this again? All right, okay, bye.